DK Metcalf, one of the biggest trades that we saw this year. And like, I love watching DK Metcalf play football. Like, the guy is an absolute monster. You watch the sheer acceleration he has. You go back to that viral clip against Arizona where he chased down the defender on the pick six.
Oh.
DK Metcalf is fun, but I don't find myself drafting him very often. And that's continued even with him going to Pittsburgh. You've got him as your wide receiver 27 compared to the Fantasy Life consensus ranking of wide receiver 20. For you, is it just too much of a leap to assume that his target share being massive in this Steelers offense is going to be worth it alone?
Yeah, I think it's the easy analysis. Like, well, he's the only game in town. You've got Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, he's going to get peppered with targets. But I think people are overestimating Arthur Smith and his ability to get the ball to a number one wide receiver, right? Again, like in the last 4 seasons, Arthur Smith has been a head coach or offense coordinator, right? With the Steelers, and then before that with the Falcons. In those 4 years, no receiver has ever finished higher than 31st in total fantasy points or points per game. And he's had some pretty good guys over that course. In fact, the only wide receiver that's actually finished top 20 under Arthur Smith was A.J. Brown's rookie year with Ryan Tannehill, where Tannehill would, just chucked a bunch of bombs. And and that was in Tennessee where they weren't that good and they're throwing a decent amount and they actually have a pretty good offense. And, they had Derrick Henry, so they're able to, do a lot of play action as well. Here's another stat for you. With Arthur Smith as a head coach or offense coordinator, the most targets a wide receiver has ever received in any of those years was Drake London in 2022. He got 117 targets. Okay. DK Metcalf has played in the NFL for 6 years, and there are 2 of those 6 years where he did not get at least 117 targets. And in both of those seasons, he had under 1,000 yards, and he finished outside the top 30 among wide receivers. I also think, Tom, I mean, like, by the way, he's finished as a top 20 wide receiver once in his career, DK Metcalf. When he's played with Russell Wilson, peak Russell Wilson, and now he's going to Aaron Rodgers, and I think the jury is still out at, like, how elite, how good a talent is Aaron Rodgers at this point, and how good is he going to be in Pittsburgh, where he's playing in cold weather, outdoors, against the Browns, twice, the Ravens twice, the Bengals. All right, those are 2 good matchups. But my point is, look, how does Mike Tomlin want to win games? He's going to play good defense. He's going to have Arthur Smith run the hell out of the ball. He's going to try to win every game 20-17. I just don't think that this is suddenly a high. DK Metcalf is going to be very touchdown dependent, and he's probably going to get some. But I think the idea that he's going to have this monster season because he's quote unquote the only game in town, I think is misguided.
It's just such a difficult leap with so many different personalities in Pittsburgh as well. Like we've seen from Aaron Rodgers last year, he was throwing the ball in more contested catch type passes than he has in previous years. But then he had Devontae Adams there. He had Garrett Wilson, who he'd had 2 off seasons with. So even though it didn't work out on the field, they had the time to develop a bond. Whereas with DK Metcalf, they've had just this off season together. And for all the reasons you kind of mentioned, it just feels like DK Metcalf is a more fun player in theory than what we've seen. And as somebody who's been very high on Drake London for the last couple of years, I remember all too well what Arthur Smith did to Drake London. So I'm right there with you on DK Metcalf.
Just to keep in mind, one further thing about your point, he hasn't even had the full offseason. Remember, Rodgers showed up late. He didn't sign until July because he didn't want to deal with the OTAs. Like, he's a veteran, and he's just like, and he knew that if he knew he wasn't going to be at OTAs, this is what I hear from a source. He knew he wasn't going to be at OTAs, and he knew that if he had signed with the Steelers and missed OTAs, it becomes a story. And so he didn't sign until July on purpose so that it's not, you can't ask about a player that isn't there if he's not on the team. And but again, it sort of shortens the window that he has time to get familiar with Smith's offense, to get some chemistry with DK Metcalf. So yeah, I'm out on him this year.